Peter Newbold is the GM of PGG Rights and Real Estate. Let's take our monthly look at the state of play in the rural market. Hey, Peter, business is up over 70% year on year. Just a lot of renewed activity and interest in the rural sector.
Yeah, look, it's quite incredible, Jamie, and, it's good not just for us, but it's for everyone in the industry. So we've seen a huge spike in rural sales, and that probably covers all areas or all sectors. Probably the only one that's slowed a little bit is Hort, but that's mainly around the availability of listings. But, I think by the end of the year, or the end of our financial year, we could be double. So that's a really good thing for rural New Zealand. And we're just seeing a lot of activity in all areas, and there's a lot more buyers out there, which is also a positive. So really, really strong position.
Are we seeing syndicates coming back in, the corporates coming back into buying farmland? We saw a lot of that activity 10 years ago, and then it tailed off. I'm seeing more of it now.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I think, there's that sort of number I sort of say, you start to get over $10 million in value, and that does limit those available, potential. And so we are seeing in that sort of, over that sort of value, a lot more activity, what I call those large entities, groups, etc. And that's probably a big change than, if you look back over the last couple of years. So I think that's good when you look out over the next couple of years. Dairy
has been the elephant in the room in recent times, but, the banks, I think ASB came out yesterday, lifted their new season forecast to $8.20. That's going to encourage punters into the market.
Yeah, look, I think it's really good news, and it's not only just for the farmers, but it's all those communities that benefit from them being in a good position. And we've seen a lot of activity in there. In some regions, there's probably been double the activity we've had. So it's really strong. I sense it will continue. And there's a lot more, potential buyers coming into that market looking for dairies. Again, the only thing is, which is probably a little bit slower, is that sort of top end where you need a bit of horsepower, and that market is slowly starting to gain momentum. But, that's always going to be a bit more of a longer game there, I believe.
What about the drought? And I'm looking at the east coast of both islands. Is that affecting sales, especially of sheep and beef properties? Because you only want to sell your property when it's looking its best, and they're just not looking their best at the moment.
No, look, and it's quite obvious in that space. You want, as you said, you always want to sell when it looks the best. I think when you go in and do your DD, it probably doesn't make a lot of difference. But we are seeing a number of properties that we were going to bring to the market, which have just held off. And I think if you look out into spring, we'll probably see, if the weather's kind to us, we might see some of those sales brought forward, subject to the, weather conditions. But definitely the drought is having a big effect on sales, but also in other areas of rural as well.
Since COVID, we've seen a real interest in lifestyle blocks. People want to get out of the cramped city life and get a bit of greenery and space around them. But we're seeing a bit of a slowdown in the lifestyle block market.
Yeah, and I think the big thing there is listings. So that part has slowed up. I think values have got to a point, they've been really strong over the last 6 to 9 months. I think that's just probably flattened. That's not a bad thing. And also you're coming into that winter market where, everyone says things are slowing down, but traditionally, when you come into winter, of course, sales do slow up a bit. And especially in lifestyle, people like to show their gardens and all that sort of thing in the best possible light. So, yeah, we're seeing things just slow a bit. I think some of that's traditional. Some of that is listings we've got, but I think that sector, again, as we move back into the spring, I think will take off again. There's no reason why it won't.
Peter Newbold, GM of PGG Rights and Real Estate, thanks for your time. People can go to our website, thecountry.co.nz, click on Rural Properties, and there you'll find our Property of the Week. And in fact, I think you've got a number of listings in what you would call, Peter, Heartland New Zealand, the places you really want to go to when you go farming, like the King Country.
Yeah, look, it's quite, it's really interesting at the moment. There's just some wonderful properties out there, and as you call it, Heartland New Zealand, which is a good place to live and operate. So, yeah, no, really good.
We'll catch you next month. Onwards and upwards for the rural real estate market.
Yeah, cheers.